Meeting of the Planning Commission will come to order. Let's rise and follow our commissioner. You know who you are. And follow the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you.
Put your right hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will the secretary please call roll?
Commissioner Owens?
Present.
Commissioner Frometta?
Present.
Commissioner Spathopoulos?
President.
Vice Chairman Duarte?
Present.
And Chairman Dominguez.
Present. Will those cover page of the agenda outlines the procedures the commission will follow. This is time set aside for all communications for the Planning Commission. Does any commissioner wish to express an announcement or report on a conference or a meeting or request items for future agendas? Commissioner?
No.
Commissioner?
None.
Commissioner?
None, thank you.
Commissioner?
None, thank you.
And I have none also. Is the Director of Community Development aware of any presentations for tonight?
No presentations tonight, Chair Dominguez.
Does the Director of Community Development have any changes to the agenda?
No changes to the agenda, Chair Dominguez.
Does the Director of Community Development have a report on the City Council actions?
No reports tonight, Chair Dominguez.
Now is the time to set aside public hearings. The public hearings for case number PLN 19-00007 is now open. Does the Secretary have proof of publication?
Yes, we do.
Will the Director of Community Development introduce staff making the presentation?
Thank you, Chair Dominguez. Tonight we have our Associate Planner, Alfonso Hernandez, to make the presentation.
Good evening, Chairman Dominguez and members of the Planning Commission. Tonight you're being asked to consider a conditional use permit to allow an existing restaurant to operate under a Type 41 ABC license. This would allow the sale of beer and wine for on-site consumption only. Also, it should be noted that this permit does not allow for any live entertainment. The applicant is Jacqueline Sheridan, the business owner, and the restaurant is Berto's Mexican Restaurant. This is an area of the subject property outlined in red at the northwest corner of Cole Street and Paramount Boulevard. This is the corresponding zoning for the subject property and nearby area. The lot is zoned C1, neighborhood commercial. Directly to the north and east are C1 properties developed with various commercial uses. To the south are also C1 properties, but they are developed with various commercial uses and a multifamily residential building. And to the west are R3 and R1 properties developed with large multifamily buildings and single-family homes. The existing restaurant and applicants are Berto's Mexican Restaurant. The previous occupant was also a restaurant, Marisa's Mexican Restaurant. The previous use also operated with an ABC license and with no live entertainment. The lot is 20,800 square feet. The actual tenant space is 2,140 square feet. It is one of 5 other tenant spaces on the lot. All the tenant spaces together make up an overall building size of 7,292 square feet. There is an existing 29 parking spaces on site, which is legally non-conforming for all the uses on the site. However, this permit would not interrupt the current parking demand, therefore the 29 spaces are sufficient. And again, this application is for a Type 41, which is a license typical for restaurants who only want to sell beer and wine. And again, it's only for on-site consumption. This is what the site currently looks like today at the entrance along Paramount Boulevard. Here is their floor plan. In yellow is the customer area, and red is the area where the alcohol will be stored. And the other parts of the tenant space include kitchen, prep room, restroom, office, and storage. Here is a look of the inside of the restaurant. These are part of the dining area. Here are a couple more pictures. On the right is where the alcohol will be stored, up against the empty wall there. The hours of operation are Sunday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m., and Friday through Saturday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And again, this will be a Type 41. And at any given time, they expect a maximum of 70 customers. The Development Review Committee met on January 24, 2019. Planning did identify a couple of concerns. The project is conditioned for 50% or more of the total gross revenue to come from food sales. This would restrict the restaurant from becoming a bar or similar to a bar. The other concern was noise and the proximity to residential. Therefore, live entertainment is prohibited, and signs are to be placed in the parking area asking patrons to be courteous to their neighbors. Aside from that, no other departments expressed concerns over the proposed use and issued standard conditions of approval. In conclusion, it is staff's opinion that all findings can be made in a positive manner. And that concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Does the planning commissioner have any questions for the staff? Commissioner Spathos.
Quick question, if you can go back to that slide, one of those slides showed the interior with, you mentioned alcohol storage in a certain area. Mm-hmm. Was that open, accessible to customers, or how is that? Just trying to understand how that works right there.
Well, this space here does not have a gate, so theoretically somebody can walk into there. That would be this area here.
Okay. So are they stored in like coolers?
They will be stored in coolers. Currently it's empty because they have not ordered the equipment. They may be able to give you more feedback on that.
Okay.
Commissioner?
So there is no live entertainment at all?
No.
So or you said amplified music, meaning if a person comes in with a guitar, is that considered entertainment, live entertainment?
The applicants are conditioned to have no live entertainment, so that would suggest that if another individual came in to do it, they'd ask them to leave, or they should ask them to leave.
Great, thank you.
Commissioner Woods?
None, thank you.
Vice Chair?
None, thank you.
Could you please go back to the diagram that shows the actual, that's it right there. I noticed that on the CUP it said reference a patio. Where is the patio?
I don't recall referencing a patio on the CUP.
Perhaps I was dreaming. Let's take a look. Page 12, number 23. Third sentence, middle. Along the exterior patio. Is that a typo? Is that a carryover from a different template?
That seems to be a mistake on our part. It's a
All right,
carryover
so we'll
from
strike that then?
previous.
Okay. How many handicap parking spaces?
Let's try our best to figure it out. I did not take note of that.
Okay.
The question is?
How many?
Well, the assumption is they comply today, and they will comply as well for this build out. When they come in to finalize their permits through the building department will confirm that they meet all ADA requirements. It's in addition to the quantity of spaces and also the layout of those spaces and the path of travel.
Okay, I appreciate the answer. Now, what did you mean by it's non-conforming to parking?
When the site was developed, it was developed with a series of uses. At that point, they potentially the allowed uses all accumulated to 29 parking spaces. Over time, our zoning change has developed and changed, and now if they wanted to do it new, it would require more parking spaces. That number is in our staff report, if you like it.
So today, it would require more parking spaces, which means it would probably require more disabled parking spaces, correct?
Potentially.
That's true, but it's still a grandfathered use because they're not changing anything. All they're basically changing is the sign on the building. The prior business had the same type of uses. Unfortunately, the prior business let their ABC license lapse, and that's why they're getting it, and that's why they're here before us. But had the prior business not let their ABC license lapse, these folks would have gone in, assumed the license, bought it, or whatever transaction would have occurred, and they would have been on their merry way. Based on our zoning and use standards, that site is grandfathered in because they're not changing or intensifying the use. They get to assume those grandfathered, requirements as well.
So there are multiple businesses within that domain, correct?
That's correct.
All right. So if one of those other 4 remaining business changes, does that then also change the parking?
It doesn't if they change like for like. So they would have to intensify the use, then that would kick them out of their grandfather status. Then they would have to go back and comply.
It would kick all 5 out of the grandfather status, or just the new applicant?
Just the new applicant.
So I have a comment. So stay on that slide, and maybe for edification, because this is the neighborhood where I grew up. That was Cron's Market. So what you see there in red was the market space. And after Cron's left, stopped doing business, it was parceled out to not only the Marissa's or now the new Berto, the other parts north of it, still in the red, were cut up into smaller suites, if you will. For the purposes of the handicap parking, as it was, as Marissa's, I'm imagining Berto's stays the same. It's the parking spaces right there on the bottom of the screen, right at the front door. So there is no other side door entrance, or there is an entrance off of Paramount, but on Cole Street, that entrance you see, those 4 or 5 front spaces right there were the dedicated handicap spots, and those will probably remain exactly that.
That's correct.
Thank you.
That helps any.
I appreciate the clarification, sir. Thank you so much. We've gone through this before in other CUPs with restaurants and sale of alcohol and definition of foodstuffs. I believe we changed a year and a half ago or so the wording for page 11, number 10, which says the sale of alcohol shall be incidental to the sale of food. I believe that we asked that the sale of food be amended to include the second sentence on item number 12 on page 12, that is beginning with the service of sale of prepackaged food, salads, sandwiches, is not considered to be compliant with this condition. That makes sense to you, sir?
It does. It does. It should be changed to reflect the restaurant or the appropriate food sales that they're making.
I have no further questions. Any other questions, commissioners? Thank you very much, Mr. Hernandez.
Thank you.
Before I call the applicant and his representative, this will be the time for any planning commissioner to disclose any pre-hearing site visits or pre-hearing discussions the commissioners may have had about this project. Commissioner?
None.
Commissioner?
I just drove by them.
Commissioner?
None.
None. Mr. Chair? And none for me also. Will the applicant and his or her representative please come forward to give testimony? Please state your name and address.
Hi.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello?
Jacqueline Cheriton.
Where's your address, Jacqueline Cheriton?
11949 Paramount Boulevard.
Okay. So now is a time when you have an opportunity to tell us about your business, the purpose of the alcohol license, and ask us any questions or give comments or testimony on anything you might have read prior to, or anything you might have heard during this hearing up to now.
Okay. The customers have been asking for, beer and wine. They really want it. It kind of goes hand in hand with Mexican food. They would love to have it, and we have people come in once or twice a day asking, "Oh, do you have beer? Oh, can we get a beer?" So they would, enjoy it, and it would definitely help the business if we had it.
Thank you. I believe there was a question earlier from one of the commissioners asking about the security of the beer and wine quarter. Do you have any comments on that?
I don't think that we'll have any issues with security. We close pretty early. We're done at 10. But if there were an issue, we would have no problem having security if they needed that.
Thank you so much. Maybe I misstated the question.
The security question is regarding how it's going to be housed.
That is correct, yeah.
T49 two-door.
Excuse me? I'm sorry. So if you could walk up to the mic so that we could hear you. We're live streaming this.
Yeah.
And then, Chairman, we also have the slide up for you as well, because I think that was the area that was in question.
That was. Would you please state your name and address?
And I'm actually the building owner, so it's 11949 Paramount Boulevard.
Okay.
It's a reach-in, true two-door cooler that'll have bottled beer, and next to it is a kegerator. So there is no public access to that. That picture makes it look like you'd actually have to go around a corner and make a real effort to get in there. And it would be pretty easy to do a little swing door there if that was something somebody wanted there.
My question, if I can go off that, Chairman, the reason I had that question is it looks like, so not only the security, but so you guys are not serving it obviously from there. It's not like a bar top or a countertop. That's access for your waitresses or waiters or whoever to pick out or pick up a beer. I think it would be nice if we had a couple swing doors there, just an easy addition, because it looks like someone can walk back there. I don't think it's a security issue. I think it's more of a serving issue, or how it's being housed or displayed, or it just looks kind of funny to me, I think. I don't know if anybody else shares that.
So where the ice machine is currently plugged in, that cooler box will fit flat against that wall there, and then the doors.
Goes kegerator, and
Okay.
then the cooler door. The cooler will be behind that wall and up against it.
And then the other doorway that we kind of see, oh no, I'm sorry, that's the picture, that's the edge of the picture. Okay, it was kind of the same setup as the last.
The exact same.
Exact, okay. They would serve pitchers and bottled products and wine, margaritas, wine drinks.
Wine drinks, yeah.
Any other questions from the commission? Ladies, thank you very much for your time presenting here today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Has there been any correspondence in favor or opposition?
No correspondence.
Is there anyone who would like to speak in favor or opposition of the application? Please state your name and address.
I'm here for the record and motion that parcel 19/00007 for the record be permitted to have beverages called alcohol. Because like any restaurant and all restaurants, the consumption of alcohol is needed hand in hand to keep your business going. No alcohol, no patrons to serve. They go somewhere else. And because of whatever hardship the previous past two owners had with the business, reflects that possible potential problem. They weren't using their ABC license 41 to sell alcohol. The same way our Councilman Alex Saab, who is an attorney, also is a realtor. How the hell do you do that? But it works, right? So this should also work. Going through the so-called conditions, I don't find any problem of security there. Downey is safe. We just hired 8 new young officers. We have great patrolling. I didn't read anywhere in the report regarding problems, but there's problems in most businesses regardless of alcohol. People who are outsiders that come in and create problems, loitering, as I read in the conditions. So here's a woman trying to establish a job, a woman just asking for permission by permit to work in Downey. So there should be no problem. We need more women working in addition to men to equalize non-discrimination. In addition to the so-called handicap parking, if I'm correct, and I believe I'm right, Downey will waive the cost and go there and actually paint a handicap parking on our behalf. As you heard the testimony, there seemed to be some juggling of how to make one, or maybe based on area square footage, parking for handicap. But one ain't gonna hurt us. Downey has millions of dollars, and helping out this small woman business to place that parking condition for handicap would show good faith, good cooperation, and to the extent that Downey wants to keep you working and staying in our small city. So, as well as what Mr. Jimmy there pointed out as well regarding a gate or a guard. Well, as you see, there wasn't one there, first of all. I don't believe the business or the owner of the property need to establish a gate there because, as he said, their beverages are going to be placed in a refrigerator, not visible to the public other than what you read on the menu. For those who can't read, yeah, there'll be displays of a sign or signage of this beer, that beer, domestic or American, taps, Coors. See, I care less because I'm going to drink what my desire for that night is, whether it's wine or beer. Not like some of these other businesses that pound down alcohol all night to 4 a.m. and then push you out to the street to drive your vehicle home to kill someone. It's not going to happen here. Her time is presentable, 9 to 11, very good, especially in that area of Paramount, which is very slow in business. So let's not be targeting women who are trying to become entrepreneurs. Let us look in favor, as I am likely the only Downey resident here in support. And as the Legislative Brown Act would state, my testimony stands to give them that right. I am the only legislative body here tonight to speak on that behalf. And so you're going to grant that favor. And yes, you are going to give them their ABC license 41 as of tonight, so they can continue finishing up their business. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Does the planning staff have a recommendation?
Yes. Staff recommends that the Planning Commission adopt a resolution approving conditional use permit PLN-19-000007, thereby allowing the existing restaurant to operate with the Type 41 alcohol license.
The hearing on permit number PLN-19-000007 is now closed. Commissioners, Spathos, discussion, comments?
You know, Chairman, if
Yes.
I could jump in real quick, and I don't want to hinder your comments, I just wanted to get something clear on the conditions. If we can go back to condition of approval number 12, I believe there was a question on that one. So the condition reads, the kitchen shall remain open to serve a full menu at all times the business is open. And so the intent of that is so that the business doesn't operate as a bar, that it continues to operate as a restaurant with the food sales to be predominant over the beer and wine sales. The second sentence reads, The service, sale of prepackaged foods, salads, and sandwiches is not considered to be in compliance with this condition. That's a standard uniform condition that we put on all of conditions of approval. And so I kind of wanted to flesh out what your thought was when you brought that up, Chairman, so we can help you in terms of resculpting that or leaving it the same.
I appreciate the inquiry. Let me be clear. There was no question about number 12.
Pardon?
There was no question nor issue raised by me on number 12.
Oh, okay.
The reference for 12 emanated from number 10, where number 10 says the sale of alcohol shall be incidental to the sale of food. In the past, we've defined food at quite nauseating length.
Mm-hmm.
And that, I believe, was the addition of the second sentence of item number 12. So it might be redundant, but we thought it was necessary in the past, and I think we have to have congruence and some continued verbiage that is consistent throughout the city. So I was asking for the inclusion of that second sentence as reference number 12 within number 10.
Oh, I see. Okay, that's not a problem. We got that, staff? Okay, no problem. And then the next condition, number 23. So there was a typo there that you appropriately called out in terms of exterior patio. They don't have a patio. So our suggestion is going to be, let's see, signs shall be posted along the exterior entry and entryways.
Very good.
Okay. Sorry about the interruption. But
No, sir. Thank you so much. Sure. Commissioner Spathos, questions, comments, sir?
No, I think they've kept it pretty consistent to the way it was before. And if ABC gave you the go-ahead, I think it's you guys seem to be knowledgeable and experienced and know what's going on there. My concern was having it open not only for visual, but the concern that it was being served over the counter there, and obviously it's not. So that was my concern, and I think they answered it.
Clarity is appreciated. Commissioner?
I don't have any concerns.
Commissioner Owens?
I have none either. Welcome back.
Vice President or Vice Chair Marty?
No concerns. I think, with any type of restaurant, beer and wine are pretty standard. So I look forward to visiting soon.
Wonderful. May I have a motion?
Motion.
May I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve PLN-19-000007.
The vote is now open. Please place your votes.
That include the amended
Yes,
amendments?
Yes, with the amended conditions as described by Mr. Schindler. Thank you.
The motion passes for PLN 19-00007, approval of a conditional use permit, and passes by a vote of all in favor, 5-0.
Congratulations. Okay, now agenda public comment. This portion provides an opportunity for the public to address the Planning Commission on items within the jurisdiction of the Planning Commission and those that are not listed on the agenda. It is requested you are required, but not required, you state your name or address and subject matter in which you wish to speak. Please limit your comments to no more than 5 minutes. Pursuant to the Brown Act, no discussion or action other than a brief response. Referral to city staff or schedule for a subsequent agenda item may be undertaken by the Planning Commission on the issue brought here under this section.
Yes, I'd like to go back to a time of January 3rd of 2018 when Mr. Rodriguez was the chair. And my public comment was addressing the concerns regarding last-minute amendments and changes to permits and to the projects that fall under the ADA concerns. As you may not know, and as of tonight for the record, some businesses are going to be impacted by a street closure on Firestone due to the fact that between Paramount and Downey, the street is failing to support the traffic. Less than 4 years, we paved Firestone, and it's now failed. What good is that? Spending taxpayers' hard-working money of less than $350,000 to repave the corridor. Now it's going to cost us close to $650,000 to stop traffic, create congestion, detour people into our communities, and then forward the expense back to the taxpayers that our poor infrastructure is a result to the quality and craftsmanship of those operators that we hire as contractors, scumbags that come into our community and do shoddy work, hand to hand.
Have you thought of speaking your mind at the city council supposed to hear on this matter, sir?
Well, it's going to come up because the issue is the inconvenience to businesses off of Firestone is going to be impacted. The same way at the Promenade. The Promenade is not completed. What do I mean by that? We still have vacancy of so-called businesses standing in the shadow there for over 2.5 years. And I have to blame Mr. Levas because he needs to work with the property owner who leases out those properties.
That fellow was here 4 weeks ago, sir. He should have been here.
Should have, could have, would have. But today my testimony is pointing out that the fact that the Promenade is an eyesore. It's an eyesore. And that falls on the hands of Planning Commission to fix it. Attract businesses to take on those open spaces. Call Kelly and lease. But there has to be a condition to work with the public to get this fixed. Otherwise, other infrastructure is impaired by the slow delays of operations of daily DBA. And in light to that, conditions of our infrastructure, we have to question, why are we not following through with the ADA compliance? We already had consultants out here. They already asked you what you have to fix and fix it soon. The same way I spoke to the lady and gentlemen that were standing off of Gardendale in Lakewood, measuring the furniture. To some of you who don't know that, it's called light poles and mechanisms that work our lights that are in the public right-of-way, path of travel. Conditions that should be fixed. So not to hinder people who are disabled from discrimination because you figure, well, don't go that way, go another way. Well, it's not safe going into the street to go around a pole. It's not safe going anywhere different than a route that's the shortest route of travel, and which is in this Planning Commission's projected view for future view is to look into that matter and fix it. Fix it. And when you allow developers to come in here and develop large complex, keep in mind parking. Keep in mind parking. Because if Alex Saab, the councilman, can sell condos for merely $1 million off of 2nd Street or 3rd Street out here, then you might as well just open up the floodgates for other developers to tear up our community. You're going to see all the empty lights and vacancies in these new parcels that you've created. Stop it and do more on behalf of the public's interest.
Thank you for your time, sir. Any other non-agenda public comments?
Planning commissioners, I just wanted to make a note that the city is making ADA repairs and upgrades. We can't do everything in 1 year or 2 years or 10 years. This is going to be a 20+ year effort. So what we do is we take each repair and incorporate them into all of our public works or our CIP projects, and we make them with each project we add the ADA element as well. We are making great strides. We have made great strides in making repairs. Unfortunately, it can't be done as quickly as we'd like it to, but we are chipping away at those areas which are noted in our transition plan. So I wanted to make that point.
Thank you so much. consent calendar. Does anyone wish to discuss the consent calendar? If so, would you please present, giving your name and address? Okay, may I have a motion on the consent calendar?
Motion to approve.
Oh, geez. I can't move as fast as you, but I'm here. Going back to date and time of 2018 regarding PLN/1700135 for the tentative parcel map number 78275, a site plan review. And regarding the city's planner, Mr. Blumenthal, off of the Avenue Theater located at 11022 Downey Avenue, zoned under downtown Downey specific plan. Well, specific plan, it's taking too long. We need to expedite those permits.
I'm going to ask for a minute for clarification before you move, and we'll give you your time back if necessary. I believe this is a time when we speak about the consent calendar itself as it's written, not discuss or reopen a discussion. Am I correct or incorrect in that, sir?
The public comment period for the consent calendar is only limited to the minutes for January 3rd and April 4th. And it looks like those are the only two items on the consent calendar, so public comment is limited to those items, not anything else.
Did you understand that, sir?
So he can speak, but it has to be limited to those two items.
I do not understand.
Okay.
I come from a country where English is prohibited to speak.
All right,
unless.
fine. Could you give him 5 minutes, please, and you can start again? Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Stephen Dominguez. In my country, you follow rules. Rules tell you how to behave. I follow rule called Brown Act. I do speak strangely, unfortunately, because I have speech impediment. You like to hear from me now? I speak. But please do not interrupt my public comment once I have the floor.
Mr. Herman.
Mr. Chairman, thank you.
The comments are for either one of those two sets of minutes. That's it.
So in regards to, again, operating with the Alcohol Beverage Control ABC located at 11022 Downey Avenue, in regards to the on sale of general eating place, the restaurants that would include indoor counters and hopefully table seating for the disabled. I'm bringing it to your attention because for patrons who are physically disabled and unable to have seating accommodations where they may ask and are only designed to sit in a designated area, as a word of caution, that's called discrimination. So there needs to be an issue here about non-segregation and exclusion. People should be included in restaurants in all areas of the restaurant and not be denied that right to sit by a window or sit by an area that they find pleasurable. So, again, as I read earlier regarding Rockwell and the ABC Type 48 on sale general public premises for alcohol and convenience, I didn't know there were so many different permits for alcohol. Permit 41, which earlier we spoke about, old business, and then now we have ABC Type 48, and also we have a ABC Type 47. Kind of confuses the public as to what is public necessity and convenience when it comes to alcohol. But we must keep in regard to whether or not the most important egresses of rooftop lounging would acquire a disabled person to go upstairs and sit and have a drink, right? And also we must keep in mind whether or not the same standards for beverage takeout windows applies in the area designated as downtown Downey. Because I find out that in most circumstances, restaurants change their conditions without approval. And there's no one there to mitigate whether or not is it in compliance or not, and who's regulating. So if we want to become regulators, we streamline all across. We don't target new business. We don't target specific individuals because of their demeanor of language or the fact that their color of skin hinders you from making a good decision about their business. In addition to that, in quote, staff believes that the adaptive use of the building will benefit the growing downtown area. Well, Mr. Schindler needs to be advised that let the public decide whether that's true or not. You can't ask for security in all our restaurants simply because you find a particular restaurant's past history is dangerous. If that's the case, then we should just ask our chief of police to have our officers stand guard at all the restaurants and new buildings of restaurants. It doesn't fly. So once again, let us not alleviate what's going on 3rd Street access. Let us not alleviate from two-story businesses that should comply with elevators or provide some access to the rooftop for patrons who are disabled and elderly. And good luck. Fix the promenade.
Okay, any other comments on consent calendar? Okay. Do we have any new business, or does any commissioner have any business to discuss?
I made the motion.
Calendar?
I'm so sorry.
Before the speaker.
What was the, yes, sir.
Motion to approve.
Second, please.
Abstentions.
Have a second, please.
Second.
May I have a vote, please?
Vote is now open.
You got to abstain, though.
Weren't here for any of the meetings on the consent calendar, you'll need to abstain unless you saw the video for that meeting. If you didn't, it would be an abstention.
Okay. Since you seconded, can we have a new second, please? Thank you. Seconded by Vice Chair. Vote, please.
Okay. The motion passes to approve the consent calendar with motioned by Commissioner Owens and seconded by Vice Chairman Duarte, with Commissioner Frometa abstaining from the January 3rd, 2018 minutes, and Commissioner Spothopoulos abstaining from both January 3rd and April 4th, 2018 minutes.
Thank you. Pardon me. Do we have any new business, or does any commissioner have any business to discuss? Commissioner Spathos?
None.
Commissioner Frometa?
None.
Commissioner Owens?
None, thank you.
Vice Chair?
None.
None for me. Does the Director of Community Development have any additional comments?
Yes, thank you, Chair Dominguez. Last Monday, we had our CEQA scoping meeting for the West Santa Ana Branch Specific Plan over on the Rancho South campus, where that station it will be located. We held the meeting at the Barbara J. Riley Community Center. We had 26 members from the community provide their comments that we entered into the public record for the CEQA Environmental Impact Report, and had some dialogue and answered some general questions in regards to that development and other developments that are occurring out there. And that concludes my update.
I'd like to thank everyone who is respectful of the proceedings of this Planning Commission and who did not provide any mockery of the process. This adjourns the meeting.